Robstar gang, what up? What up? Happy Wednesday to everyone. Hope everyone had a happy 4th of July. Hope everyone had a happy 4th of July weekend. Appreciate everyone coming through tonight. We got a great show for you tonight. I am going to open up the panel tonight as we get through this. Okay. As we get through this, I will open it up later on tonight as we go through this training camp preview. And I'm going to dive more into training camp as time goes on, as we get closer, because we're not that far away from training camp. But I think we're 2 weeks away at this point. Something like that. I think we're like 2 weeks away. So not that far away. Why is everyone hating on our Panthers, Clay? Listen, man, you have Panthers fans that are very passionate about their team, and some people believe and some people don't. I mean, that's a fan base. Like, I don't expect everybody to believe, right? I don't expect every Panthers fans to believe, right? You have your one side that's I think that it's just like politics, man. You have your you have your right people, your right wing people, you got your left wing people, and then you got your people that are just in the middle, right? I feel like your right wing people are the ones who are overly optimistic. I think your left wing people who are absolutely just don't believe at all. They also are a little bit delusional, a little bit, but so are the right wing people. They're also delusional. Whereas I like to just stay in the middle and be realistic and go based off facts, right? Um, some people don't believe that, but I go based off what I see in tape, because what do we do on this show? We break down film. We've been breaking down film for the past 2-3 years. Okay. Um, we do college film. So it's not like everybody's not going to be the same, man. Not everybody's going to be the same. Not everybody's going to believe in the Carolina Panthers. And that's okay. Everybody has a right to their opinion, man. And it's all good at the end of the day. To me, it's all good, you know. And I get it. And I get it. It's all good at the end of the day. So, whether you believe or not, whether you're one of those believers or you're not, hey, you don't have to. I just like making content. I like entertaining you guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content. You know what I mean? I just try to give y'all good content week in and week out, whether I'm live, whether I'm not live. I'm constantly putting out content for you guys, and that's all that matters to me. But shout out to Eric Blair, by the way, for coming through with that member for 8 months. Shout out to you, Eric. I appreciate you coming through week in and week out and showing your support. I really do appreciate that. So I had to give you a shout out for that. I appreciate you, my guy. What's up, Zach? Appreciate you joining. All right, so we're gonna dive into this, man. We got a lot to talk about, because we're gonna talk about roster battles. We're gonna be talking about depth chart. We're gonna talk about just a lot of no nonsense on today's going to be a lot of realistic. All right. And, there's going to, some of you going to say, well, Clay, that's bullshit. Some of you going to say, well, Clay, that's not right. Or some people are going to agree with me. It is what it is. I mean, we're about to enter our training camp. Not as a rebuilding. I feel like now, and this is just truly how I feel. I truly feel like we're not a rebuilding franchise. But I think we are more as one in a full, I think the word, I guess you could say, is recalibration mode. That's the way I look at it. We're in this recalibration mode, and there's no spin zone here. I feel like this team has been bad. This team has been mismanaged, and at times directionalless, I guess is the word, especially since the post Cam Newton era. Like, I feel like this is the most I've seen under Dan Morgan as a GM, the most competency from a front office standpoint. I've also feel like that from a head coaching standpoint, Dave Canales. I think the Panthers are finally to begin I think we're finally. I think between the last 8 weeks until on, we've really began to see signs of us actually just having a plan. I'm not necessarily saying like we've seen signs of progression I'm just saying that we've seen signs that this front office and this GM and this head coach actually have a plan, because I just felt like before we were just throwing shit at the wall, and I've said it before and said it again to see if it sticks, right? No one rooted for the dominance, and I don't think a lot of people really rooted for this youth development and all this systematic consistencies and stuff like that. But I definitely rooted for the Trent dominance. I definitely rooted for the youth development and actually getting a systematic scheme and play calling that is consistent, which haven't had. But now, like, here's the thing. I am going to say this today. Bryce is no longer the fragile project behind a turnstile line. He's going into his year 3 quarterback, right? He's got real protection now. He's got real functional receivers. He's got an offensive staff committed to his growth. Meanwhile, the defense has gone from finesse, I guess you could say, or really not even finesse. I would probably say like downright atrocious to now to having a lot of potential, at least on paper. Like, I really think that this camp matters out of the most. All right. So without further ado, appreciate you guys coming through, everybody joining. Make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's really this simple. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right. StreamYard switching it up on me, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Switching it up on me. So let's talk about the quarterback. Really, we could say quarterbacks, but let's really just talk about the quarterbacks. Quarterback, I should say. No more there. I'm going to say this. There's no more training wheels for Bryce Young. You're going into your 3rd year. This could be Bryce's final straw of really proving himself. And the question is for me, will Bryce Young, and I put it up here. I said, well, the question right there, as you can see, will Bryce Young break out in year 3? That is the legitimate question. Will he break out in year 3? Because there's no other way to sugarcoat this, ladies and gentlemen. There's not. There's no way to sugarcoat this anymore for this kid. They have what did they to because I said it last year, right? I didn't say last year. I said it when I broke down our defense, right? When I broke down our defense, I said, what did the Carolina Panthers do last year? What did Dan Morgan do last year? Well, the kid got sacked 63 times in his rookie year. Incompetent GM, incompetent head coach. Absolutely just a shit mess in his rookie year. Right? Surprised it didn't fuck him up even any more than it really did. Right? But then they go out and they build the trenches around him. They go get Robert Hunt. They go get Damian Lewis. Right? This year, they brought back Austin Corbett on a contract. They brought back Brady Christensen on a contract. Right? You brought back K. Mays. You keep the competency of the offensive line. Okay? That's fine. That's good. That's great. It's dandy. But I'll be honest with you. I think Bryce Young was a little bit overwhelmed early back in 2024. And, he's learning a new playbook under Dave Canales. The first 2 weeks was rough. But then over that final 12-week stretch, he just flipped this narrative and then posting a top 10 passer grade, showing command, showing anticipation, showing much needed toughness. But here's the thing, he's now got a stable line. He's got more explosive weapons. He's got a coaching staff that's not going to sabotage him with a 5-yard curls on a 3rd and 11. I mean, that you're not going to see that this year. Not with this, okay? Not with this. Because again, we saw Bryce Young deliver down the stretch last year, really showing that anticipation, really showing that decisiveness, really commanding this offense. And he's got more pocket time now than he's had in years, or even in his rookie year for sure. I shouldn't say years. Since his more pocket time last year than he did in his rookie year. Again, we've got the competency on the offensive line. You've got the firepower on the outside. You've got two, which I stated this in my video last night. If you tuned into my short, you've got two running backs with over 1,000 yards. Enrico Dowd and Chuba Hubbard. Now, I still think that this is going to be a run heavy offense. I think they're going to do that to continue to really take pressure off of Bryce, which they should. I think that he benefited from that last year, and we saw that when really Chuba was really getting the feed. They were feeding Chuba. Kendall, I appreciate you coming through. Kendall comes through with a comment, says, "What up, my guy?" Not to be delusional, but I think he's going to ball out this year. He has something he didn't have before, and that's hope. Appreciate the comment, Kendall. Appreciate you coming through, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's delusional. To say he's going to ball out, balling out, and here's the thing that I got to say to this, because a lot of people think that if he reaches over 3,500 plus yards, which is great, that's an average quarterback. So let's say an average quarterback, right? Normally an average quarterback, I would say, is probably around 3,800 yards. An average quarterback in the NFL throws that. We cannot be throwing a massive parade for this kid if he throws for 3,800 yards. If he breaks 4,000 or he gets 4,000 on the mark, okay, I can see that. I can see that we could be a little bit hyped. But I'm not going to be that fan that's like hyped because I would be happy because he showed progression. But I'm not going to be that fan that's going to be like, oh my gosh, he threw for 3,700 yards. I'm not. And I told y'all this year too that this is a progress year for me. I don't think this team is going to be, I think they're going to be in the NFC South. Like, I think they're going to be competing for the NFC South title, but I don't see this team really making a playoff push. I just don't. I think this is a progress year. I think that I think winning between 8 to 9 games is where we need to be to really actually say, okay, this team, this coaching staff, this front office is actually progressing forward the way we want them to. I I don't see this team going out here and winning 12 games. I don't see this team winning 10 games. They win 10 games. I know I said 8, 9, but if they exceed the 10, cool. You know what I mean? But no, and I appreciate that, Kendall. Appreciate the comment there again. I'm just not going to go head over heels for a guy who throws for 3,700 yards. I'm just not. If he breaks 3,500 yards, I'm going to give him a pat on the back and I'll give him his flowers for progressing and getting better and showing, that he deserves to be in this league and he deserves to be a starting quarterback. But I'm not gonna give him his flowers if he throws for 3,200 yards. Now, if anything of the last 12 weeks was any preview of going forward, this year, I'm all for it. Any of the things I've seen this offseason, and that's a preview of what we're gonna see going into 2025, I'm all for it. But again, I need to see it to believe it. And I'm giving Bryce Young, again, like I said, till the middle of November. But if this team is 2-6, we're going to have a total different conversation, right? And so, again, I want Bryce Young to succeed. This is not me hating on Bryce Young. These are my expectations of Bryce Young. And I'm tired of this believing or not believing in Bryce Young. I'm tired of that. I want Bryce Young to succeed. Do I believe that he can? He showed me that there's definitely potential there, especially from week 8 on up of last year. But again, I need to see it, right? I need to see it. My expectations are high for Bryce this year, and I'm giving him to the middle of November. But if we're 2-16 after week 8, we're going to have a total different conversation. And if we're 2-6 after week 8, guess what? I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina is already looking at their draft board and they're looking at at this upcoming quarterback draft class. Because I would not be surprised. But again, I again, if any with everything that he's got now, again, I'm gonna reiterate this. You have the offensive line that you had last year basically coming back, finished like a top 10 unit, right? You got more explosive weapons. You've got Tedero McMillan, a guy who can go up and get it. He can open up the field, right, for everybody else, takes pressure off of Thielen, takes pressure off of, you know, Leggett, right? He also, with his size, can open up the middle of the field as well. And where does Bryce like to throw? Over the middle of the field. Bryce hasn't had a weapon like Tedero McMillan yet. And I can't remember the last time I've seen an offense this stacked for a team, for a Carolina Panthers team. Especially from a wide receiver and a running back standpoint. I'm not going to say the tight end room because we'll dive into more of that here shortly. But you also got the same coaching staff you had last year, basically. You got a coaching staff, again, like I said, that's not going to sabotage him on 5 yard with a 5 yard curl route on a 3rd and 11 play. He's going to have more time in the pocket. He's going to have a running game with 2 backs that have over 1,000 yards from last year, able to take some pressure off. So the more firepower on the outside. I mean, Bryce Young should be looking to poise to reach another level this year. That should be the expectation of him reaching another level. That's what it should be. Earl Ocular, what's going on, Clay? Appreciate you joining, man. Clay, I've been arguing with all the so off Panthers fans for the last 2 hours. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. Tell you what, we are a toxic fan base, and I just try to stay away from the toxic fans. That's what I do. I don't have time for that baby back bullshit, Earl, because that's what it is. It's just toxic baby back bullshit. I don't know who you're talking about, Earl, to be honest, but whoever they are, I steer clear from them because I just don't have time for it. Because it's just childish behavior, to be honest. What up, Clay? Been a minute getting here late. What's good, Panther Nation? Appreciate you, day one Panthers fan, coming through. Appreciate you coming through, man. Because honestly, these you're gonna have again, like I said, you're gonna have this fan base, man. It's just like it's it's just like I said before. This fan base is it's funny, man. It is. It's just like politics. You're gonna have your right side, the conservative side, your Republicans, right, who are the very optimistic fan, I would say, and then you have your Democrats who are the not so optimistic fan. I don't know, however you want to put it, but you get where I'm getting at. Very politics. So my expectation for Bryce Young, if he wants me to give him the franchise guy thing, I'm going to say this. And I'm going to give you levels to it. I'll name him our franchise quarterback if he throws for over 4,000 yards. And he throws for 25 to 28 touchdowns. Okay. I think that around there will give him a firm grip on this franchise QB mantle. That's where that's where I have to be to say, okay, this guy is a franchise guy. I need to see him. If he I think but see my projection is I think my if I'm projecting how many yards he's going to throw, I think he's going to throw around 3,800. And I think the touchdown ratio will still be there. I still think he needs to be at 4,000 and around 25 plus touchdowns for me to give him the franchise quarterback mantle. But I think he's going to be around 3,800 yards, 25, 28 touchdowns. I'm going to stick to that. I said it before. I think I said it before on an early projection. Um, Again, I think that if he throws for 3,800 yards plus, gets 25 to 28 touchdowns, you could consider maybe giving him the franchise quarterback mantle. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to do that. If he throws for over 4,000 yards and has let's say he throws for 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, maybe I'll have a conversation with you. We may have a different conversation and saying, okay, maybe he deserves that franchise quarterback mantle. You know what I mean? But right now, I'm keeping my expectations high. I'm keeping my expectations realistic, but I'm also keeping my expectations where they need to be. I think it's going to be also pretty hard. I think that with how Dave Canales runs this wide zone scheme, because it's a run heavy offense mainly, it's going to be hard for Bryce really to throw for over 4,000 yards. But again, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he does reach over that 3,800 yard mark. It's a successful season for Bryce Young, number one. It'll be a successful season for the Carolina Panthers as a whole. But let's not forget, I'm gonna throw you this crazy stat out here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm gonna look at you dead in the face. Go look up Jalen Hurts stats last year. Do you know how many You know how many yards he threw for last year? 2,900 yards. That's it. With Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goddard, and they won the Super Bowl. He only threw for 2,900 yards last year. So again, you don't have to throw for 4,000 yards to win a Super Bowl. But I think for Bryce Young, I think he needs to have this breakout year. I think he needs to have that 3,800 yards. But again, we can't compare the Panthers to the Eagles organization that, you know, that has a GM that is absolutely wild, you know? That's just like he hits on every pick up to this, almost to the 7th round every year, you know what I mean? Um, the organization has Bryce trying to this organization had Bryce trying to roller skate up an icy hill while wearing it. This is true, Kendall. That is true. I can't disagree with that. Your expectations seem high to me, Clay. He's a third-year quarterback, man. Josh, the thing is this is the year when you drafted. So when we drafted Bryce Young, this is the year where you're supposed to be making a playoff push in your third year. So yeah, my expectations are high because in a normal franchise standpoint, when we drafted Bryce Young, most of the time by the third year, this is when you're supposed to be making your playoff push with your quarterback that is supposed to be considered your franchise guy. But Bryce has yet to prove that even in year 1 or year 2. Now, down the stretch last year, don't get me wrong. I want Bryce Young to be the guy. That's what I want people to realize here is I'm not bashing Bryce, but my expectations are very high of him because this is his third year. And in your third year, you're supposed to be already taking that next step to a higher level. So, yeah, that's why my expectations are high. I'm giving him to the middle of November to prove that to me. But also at the end of the around 3,800 plus yards and around 25 to 28 touchdowns. And then I might consider giving him that franchise quarterback mantle. Till then, I'm not. And I want him to prove me wrong. Really do. But we got to take the training wheels off at some point, ladies and gentlemen. You can't keep babying this kid forever. We can't baby him in year 4. We can't baby him in year 5 because if he doesn't meet expectations this year, I wouldn't be surprised if we go into next year's draft class and if we are in a top 5 pick, top 10 situation, wouldn't be surprised if this front office goes after a quarterback. So that's why my expectations are high because this is the year that Bryce should be taking that leap with this and answering that question right now. Will Bryce Young break out in year 3? Y'all let me know in the comments, but this needs to be the year that he breaks out. Josh Allen pushed for the playoffs in his third year. What are you talking about, Josh? He pushed that Bills team to a playoff hopes. So what are we talking about? And Josh Allen actually took a major leap in his third year compared to his first 2 years. That's all I'm saying. Bryce got to take a next leap. I'm not saying he's got to get us to a Super Bowl. He's just got to take that next step forward. We can't have week 1 and week 2 like we did last year, where he just was absolutely crumbled, and then bench him again for another 5 weeks, and then bring him back out there from week 8 till the end of the season, and then expect to give this guy a contract at some point? No. So yeah, my expectations are high for Bryce. So let's not compare Bryce to Josh Allen just yet. I'm pretty sure Josh Allen in his third year took the Bills to the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and then yeah, Josh Allen in his third year, Josh, if we want to look it up, 2020, he had a 69 completion percentage, over 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and had a quarterback rating of 107. So, yeah, I don't expect Bryce to do that because I don't know if Bryce is even capable of doing that yet. So, yeah, year 3 needs to be the leap year. That's why I said 3,800 yards, 25 to 28 plus touchdowns. There's a reason behind that. 1 second, ladies and sorry about that. Question: how are they supposed to do training camp while they're doing construction? Terrence, you're not allowed. There will not be any. There will not be any. Unfortunately, there won't be any fans. I was actually going to try to go this year, ladies and gentlemen, and I actually bought a tripod. I bought mics. I also bought a like one of those things that kind of swivels in your hand. I planned on going and having like a bunch of content made for you guys. I was even going to edit some videos. It pisses me off. Run the ball and wear down the defense when the safety stack the box, then hit him with the deep ball. Right. Yeah. I mean, I like where your head's at, Panthers day one Panthers fan. I like where your head at. Price is gonna be fine. Laugh out loud. I again solid. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Fourth year. I'm gonna double check now. It's his third year, my guy. Third year. Year one, the team was an XSL roster. Year two started off PTSD, then got it together. Now he's going to be the number one pick, stud. Thought he'd be. We'll see. 3,500 yards, 34 touchdowns. Okay. Okay. I said 3,800 yards, around 25, 28 touchdowns. So that seems more realistic to me. But again, he's got a stable line. He's got a stable coaching staff. He's got more explosive weapons. Again, he's got all the tools, ladies and gentlemen, to actually take that next step in year 3, and that's what I expect him to do. Take a major step forward. Not a small step, not through a major step. Go again, and I'm glad Josh brought Josh Allen up. Go look at Josh Allen his first 2 years. Actually, we can pull it up real quick. I don't care how we win games. I mean, as long as we win, right? Like, I'm just gonna share my screen real quick, just to kind of give what Josh was talking about. Here's Josh Allen. If we're gonna talk about it, Josh Allen in 2018 rookie year, 52, 2,000 yards, 10 and 12. Okay, 58 completion percentage, over 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 85 rating. 2020, 69 completion percentage, over 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions with 107 rating. Just to give a comparison. Nader, we'll dive into that. All right, give me 1 second, guys. My wife, the wife is calling. Sorry about that. Okay. Will this running back room break at 2,000 yards? That's the next question. Listen, I think this running back room, this is an interesting running back room. Again, I think Chuba's obviously RB1. Again, I think Chuba is steady. I don't. Here's the thing. He's gotten better and better every year. Do I think he's special? Do I think he's elite? Do I think he's up there with Saquon Barkley, the Derrick Henrys, even Christian McCaffrey? No. Do I think he's top 10? No. Do I think he's top 12, top 15? Sure. Right. And it's just like I said, he got snubbed off that ESPN list. Like they gave him the top 10 list. They gave, ESPN came out with this top 10 list and a whole bunch of bull jive, basically what it was. And he wasn't even in the honor. I don't even think he made it in the honorable mentions list, which is wild to me because he had over more yards than James Cook. Now, granted, James Cook also had like 16 touchdowns last year. Um, he had more yards than Alvin Kamara. He had more yards than Joe Mixon. All right. We're talking about a guy who also had topped over 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year, only missed 2 games, right? 10 touchdowns. But again, with Chuba, I think there is this narrative, and I get it, that he lacks this big play juice, so to speak, right? Whereas, I feel like Trevor Etienne is very, very underrated. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's a lightning bolt out of Florida and Georgia, played at both teams, which is wild. Who's been taking first team reps this offseason and doing some return duties, but I think he'll be more of a change of pace type of weapon and he could flip the depth chart by midseason if if stalls. Like I think Rico Dowdle again is another thing. Like I think Dowdle, with him, I just like what Trevor Etienne brings. He brings a different gear to this offense, right? I could see ETN being that guy who carves out those third downs, that change of place work early, and then he possibly flips the timeshare by midseason. So don't sleep on Trevor Etienne. I think it's Chuba. I think it's Rico Dowdle's spot to lose. I think Chuba Hubbard's probably still going to be the RB1 throughout the season, but I think it's Rico Dowdle's spot to lose over Trevor Etienne. Really. He also brings 2 good ACLs to the table. That's also true. He does bring 2 good ACLs to the table. God dang. Just freaking Kendall coming in hot with that one. I got to drop the bomb on that one after Kendall just absolutely just fuck just drop the bomb on that. I mean, just basically Kendall just said fuck Jonathan Brooks without saying fuck Jonathan Brooks. Is basically what you just did there, Kendall. Just kidding. Just kidding. We don't hate Jonathan Brooks here. We wish Jonathan Brooks nothing but the best, but it's just funny. It's funny. But again, like I think this running back room is stacked. I think you've got 3 running backs that they're gonna get. I think everybody's gonna eat in this backfield. I think Raheem Blackshear's the odd man out, man. I mean, I get the special teams, but that's why you got Trevor Etienne. You could also here's the thing. There's this narrative of that Blackshear is going to be they're going to save him for the roster because he's good. No, he's going to be. I think he's going to end up going back to the practice squad. I don't see it. I don't see us keeping 4 running backs. I think it'll be Chuba, Rico Dowdle, Trevor Etienne in the 53-man roster. I think Blackshear will be the black sheep, and he'll be put on the practice squad. So I think this is going to be an interesting battle, honestly. I think I like what Rico Dowdle brings to the table, his versatility, having catch out of the backfield, his how agile he is. You know, he can he breaks a lot of tackles. You watch his film. Um, but I like how he also catches out the backfield too. That's one of the biggest things I like about Rico. Um, so again, I have nothing against this running back room. I think this running back room is stacked. I think it's got a major floor or a major ceiling, lots of potential here. Um, Again, it's hard to deny the fact that you've got Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, who are both 1,000-yard backs, and we're the only team in the NFL that can say, "Well, we have 2,000-yard backs from last year on our team." So, but will this running back room break 1,200 to or over 2,000 yards, which means that with Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, I think it's a possibility. I do. I think it's a realistic possibility based in this wide zone scheme that Canales runs. I think it's a major possibility. So let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on to I think I think this is the most enticing group. I think this is the most enticing group. Is this wide receiver room? I mean, um, I think this wide receiver room is going to be youth and dead weight out. I think again your starters are Tedero McMillan, your Adam Thielen, Xavier Leggett. Then behind them you got Coker, Renfro. I think David Moore is going to be moved off. I think Jimmy Horn Jr. is going to go there. Then I think David Moore. I think David Moore is the odd man out. I think David Moore is the odd man out. This is because here's the thing. This is a excuse me. This is no longer Adam Thielen in the cast of who's that. I think McMillan and Leggett, because of both of them, you got the size there. You got the toughness. You got the contested catch skill. Something Bryce desperately lacked last year. I've been watching tape on Xavier Leggett. I've been watching highlights really of him. When you watch him catch now, he's not doing the body catches. He's actually catching with his hands. Okay. So you're seeing him work more on that. But again, the size, the toughness, the contested catch skill set that Tedero McMillan brings, that's something that they desperately lacked last year. I think having both both of those guys can do it. I think Thielen's going to remain the savvy vet that he is. I mean, again, I can see him also taking a step back due to the fact of his age. But I can see either Coker or Renfro really becoming around October wide receiver 3 or 4. I don't think we need to sleep on Coker and Renfro. I see McMillan being a guy who gets like 900 yards, 5 touchdowns as his rookie year, and I think that's very solid for him, right? I think Leggett will take a step forward. He'd be like a 600, 700-yard wide receiver, 4 or 5 touchdowns as well. I think Thielen could still get around maybe 5, 600 yards, 3 touchdowns, something like that. But again, I also could see, but don't sleep on Coker and Renfro. I think Coker's a guy you really can't truly sleep on. We saw a lot of potential last year, right? What he brings to the table. Um, and he stepped up in a major way last year. Um, so I wouldn't sleep on Coker. I think Coker's a guy. I know we got a lot of cokeheads. Um, I know we got a lot of cokehead, and it's funny to say that. You know, we do have a lot of cokeheads here, but but you know we cannot ignore Jalen Coker and what he's done, right? And what the potential we saw last year, right? I think again, I think he's going to make a major. I think he's going to be pushing with Hunter Renfro for that 3 or 4 spot. I think they're going to be both battling for the 3 or 4 by October, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if one of them takes that 3 or 4 spot by October. I think Thielen will still get some playing time. Don't get me wrong, but he'll be more of a rotational guy because I just think that his age is going to catch up to him. I think it's 6 wide receivers. I think it's Tedero. I think it's T Mac, uh, Thielen, Leggett, Coker, Renfro, Jimmy Horn Jr. I think David Moore is the odd man out. I get, we had this conversation the other day. I think it was on What's Up Doug's show on Sunday, and PPP was on there, and he thinks David Moore is going to stay due to, of course, having the, um, being with Dave Canales for so long in Tampa and having that familiarity, and then, of course, bringing the special teams as well. And he also made some good catches last year, but he also had some bad drops last year. And again, I think this is where the youth movement comes into play over David Moore. And that's why I think even though Renfro's 29, you're still going to take Jalen Coker and Jimmy Horn Jr. over David Moore. But if you're getting, especially if you're getting Renfro and you're even getting 80% of what Renfro was in Vegas, is way better than anything David Moore has ever done in his career. And also Hunter Renfro can play special teams as well. So it's like I can see where David Moore gets the boot. I like your Gamecock shirt. Appreciate that, man. It's a Southern Tide Gamecock shirt. I'm pretty sure it's Southern Tide. We should start a poll to see which wide receiver starts the season injured. Why should we start that poll, Rock Jones? I don't know if I want to start that poll. I feel like that's bad juju. How many receivers are we going to keep? I think 6. Nader, I think 6. I think it's Nola, Thielen, Leggett, Coker, Renfro, Horn. That's who I think it is. So, all right, who will be the guy? This is the group that I want someone to please finally step up. I want somebody in this, but I mean, we saw a lot of potential out of Jadavion Sanders last year. I mean, we did. We saw a lot of potential out of Jadavion Sanders last year, but I feel like Trimble is a coach's favorite because he does the dirty work, but again, he's questionable. But let's be honest. All Tommy Trimble is, ladies and gentlemen, is a 6th lineman in cleats. I like Tommy Trimble. I think he's a guy that has shown that he flashes of being a guy who can not only block but go out there and be a pass catcher. But Jadavion Sanders is definitely the pass catcher tight end. He was drafted to be the pass catcher tight end, right? You can already tell he's already Bryce's favorite underneath target. And again, I think he's going to flash early. I think this will become his room by week 4. So I think Jadavion Sanders will take over this room by week 4. Because I just see Bryce Young leaning on Sanders early as a midfield safety valve. And by week 4, I think this could be Jadavion Sanders' room. I like what Mitchell Evans is saying. I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm seeing from Mitchell Evans, or what I've seen from him from a tape standpoint. Reminds me a lot of Jason Witten, right? I like what he brings to the table. Again, he's kind of like Tommy Trimble, but I think he's also could be end up being a better pass catcher, right? I think he's shown more in his film. He's shown more flashes of having that pass catching versatility um than Tommy Trimble. So, is it confirmed that he's going to be healthy by week 1? No, it has not been confirmed yet. We haven't heard an update yet. You know, they were thinking that he might be ready to go by training camp. But it was saying that he should be ready by week 1, but there was still no um there's no confirmation of that. No. So, we haven't heard any update yet, that's for sure. So, but I appreciate the comment, Will. Excuse me, ignorance. Excuse me, ignorance. What's that mean? All right. All right, let's move on. Will this unit be excuse my ignorance. Oh, you're fine. Will this unit be top 10 again? Will this unit be top 10 again? That's my question. Um, Here's my take on this unit, man. I think, of course, you got your starters, Icky, Lewis, Corbett, Hunt, Moton. Of course, the depth, love it with Christensen. You got Zavala. You got Try Carter. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. You got Kingston. You still got Mays on the team. You got Josh Nishman. Here's the thing. They went out, spent over $150 million on this group, man. For once, I'll say this. And for once, that ROI of that 150 million, it's there. Because in 2024, they were a top 5 unit in yards before the contact. They gave Bryce time to breathe. Again, if this line stays healthy, it could be elite. Not good. I think this unit could be elite. I think their ceiling is top 5. Again, their floor is top 10. This will be the engine of the offense once again. So, again, I think that this year, and maybe my expectations are very high, and maybe I might be overly optimistic with this offensive line, but we saw it last year. I mean, they were a top 10 unit last year. In many weeks, they were if you follow the 33rd team on X, 33rd team puts the lowest pressure rates every week out on X. And we were top 10. This offensive line was top 10 almost every single, like basically I want to say, I guarantee you at least 15 to 14 weeks out of last year, they were top 10 in lowest pressure rates. So, again, that's why I just think that this is going to be, I think a lot of the NFL is underrating this unit. I think if this line stays healthy, ladies and gentlemen, it could be elite. I don't think it won't. It's not going to just be good. They are going to be an elite offensive line. How big of an impact do you think Rico makes? I think Rico is going to have again. I said it before on on the running back slide. Like I think that this running back room is stacked. I think Trevor Etienne brings a whole different type of juice to the table. But I like the versatility of what and how agile Rico Dowdle is. And I love how he's such a great catcher and out the backfield, and he's able to find run lanes. He's a read first, run type of player. He doesn't just read and run, and then or he's not a run and just read. If that makes sense. Like what I mean by that is he reads, you know, he's looking for run lanes. I like what Rico brings to the table. It's just that Trevor Etienne can bring so much speed on this from out that backfield that we've been lacking, right? But I think Rico could have a major impact. It's his spot to lose though to Trevor Etienne. Just don't sleep on I mean, I know I have a lot of hype around I know I'm giving a lot of hype around Trevor Etienne, but I truly believe that. So just don't sleep on him. All right, let's get into the defense, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into defense. Now, we talked about this defense before. I did it recently. If you haven't yet, go check out that video on my page. Is talk about the defense, but we're gonna dive into this, of course, once again. Um, so let's talk about this defensive line. Um, this defense went from like paper tigers to basically punch in the mouth. I feel like I think from this defensive line really went from a turnstile to a tone setter. Like you got Derek Brown, Bobby Brown the third, and Tershawn Wharton as your starters. I don't know if this will be the exact starting lineup. They might not put Tershawn Wharton here on rundowns. It'll probably be Ashawn Robinson on rundowns. Tershawn Wharton will be more on passing downs, in my opinion. Um, but if we're talking about last year, this front was tissue paper, man. Derek Brown leaving us was just a major, major loss, and we saw it real quick. Um, but Dan Morgan overhauled it with a purpose. Derek Brown is extended and healthy. You got Bobby Brown the third again, like I said, is a true nose tackle. And again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You don't sleep um again on Bobby Brown the third. I just don't like I really think that Bobby Brown the third is a guy that you cannot sleep on. I truly believe that. I think what he brings to the table is just because we haven't had a true nose tackle. He's got long arms. He's going to get low leverage. He's got serious power. He's going to be a guy that's going to eat double teams up and still control the gaps. And that's the kind of space eater that this Panthers simply need and that we haven't had. Right. Whereas, if we're talking about um Wharton brings interior rush juice. Like he's a little bit undersized, but lightning quick. The guy, if you've seen his legs, doesn't miss leg day. Um, a disruptive interior rusher who's shown that he can beat every top tier guards with leverage and hustle. I mean, Carolina hasn't had that kind of interior juice since Kawan Short prime, right? I just think that this group no longer absorbs punishment. I think it's going to deliver this year, right? I really do. I think that defensive line is going to be. I mean, again, Derek Brown is back. That is the most important thing, right? And so with there's more depth now. There's more versatility here. Evero can rotate in waves. He can bring different body types, and he can attack protections in new ways that I don't think he's been able to do now. And again, I've said it before on this show. I still think Ejiro Evero is even though what we've done, I think Ejiro Evero um is fighting for his job this year. But again, he does have a roster now that he is very versatile to do multiple things with it, just like I said. Um, but again, you also got a healthy Derek Brown back, right? So again, I think if this front seven can deliver, it opens up everything. More third and longs, more turnovers, more control. So yeah, I mean, we can again so much. So it's a total. I feel like maybe maybe I'm being over optimistic on the defensive side of the ball, but I feel more confident this year than I did last year. I can tell you that for sure. Palmetto Panther, appreciate you joining, man. Definitely will be night and day for sure. Let's talk about the edge rushers, man. I think this is another group everybody loves. I think there's a lot of high ceiling growing, but I do see some growing pains incoming, right? Um, I think of course you got your starters, Wanum, I think Roseboom's gonna I think they've got this right. Roseboom's gonna be the starter. I could be wrong. They might put Trevin Wallace there. I'm not too sure. Um, but then of course you got Jewel and Nick Scorton. I think Pat Jones, if Wanum's not ready to go, Pat Jones or Princely, depending on how training camp works out, will probably take over for DJ Wanum in the meantime until he comes back. But we'll see. We'll see. But you got a lot of depth here now. I mean, we have a lot of depth. This is a volatile group, right? You got Scorton, you got Umar Mielen, who are just raw, very twitchy, very violent. I think Joel is definitely the adult in the room, right? And again, if Wanum's linger, this could be a trial by fire situation for the rookies. And really it'll be Pat Jones or Prince Umami Yellen. I mean, I think that Pat Jones will go here. Possibly, I could see him going on the strong side. Then Princely, while DJ Wanham's out, I could see something being this possibility. While Wanham's out, Princely will step in here, but we'll see, right? Um, I think that this is a defense or from a linebacker and edge room standpoint, I think could be a unit that's kind of chaotic early, but I think could be dangerous by December. To be honest with you, Marcos Cash, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining, brother. Appreciate you joining. Um, so yeah, again, I think that this linebacker room and all that. Again, you rounding out this room there again. You got some intriguing rookies as well. Don't forget about like Bam Martin Scott. Don't sleep on Boogie Basham, who came from the Buffalo Bills on over here. And I'm gonna call him Tua Nomura. Both bring some special teams upside. I think a lot of developmental traits, so don't sleep on them. But again, this is no longer a group that's held together by duct tape, and it's one that's being built for the long term. And I like what I'm seeing here. Um, again, when you look at this group, I just think that there's so much potential here. Again, there's just so much potential when it comes within this linebacker room and edge rushers. And that's for years to come, right? That's for years to come. So it's been a while. Yeah, I appreciate that, Marcos. I haven't stopped posting, Marcos. I just haven't been live. I've been posting a lot of shorts. I just haven't been live, but my guy. So, but still getting content out to you guys, of course. Going to continue to do that. And again, gonna have some again. Been doing college football content, shorts as well, and NFL, and of course Carolina Panthers. So I've been doing the whole shebang. So make sure you guys tune in. It's college football takes. There's freaking NFL takes, and then of course the Carolina Panthers. So continue, guys, to tune in. Continue to like. Continue to subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Let's take the Rock Star Report to the moon. All right, let's take it to the moon. All right, let's move on. This is an interesting one. This is an interesting unit, to say the least. Cornerbacks. Is this secondary reliable enough? Is this secondary reliable enough? All right. Um, I think this is a group that's a boom or bust group. I think it's deeper, but I think it's a boom or bust group. I think because the reason why I say that when healthy, JC Horn is an elite corner. But this team is no longer relying solely on him, right? You got Jackson, you got Evans, you got Devonshire, who's shown a lot of promise in a lot of the offseason workouts. So provides a lot of depth there, right? Um, again, I think Mike Jackson, a long press capable cover man, with starting experience in Seattle. You got a Caleb Evans again, offers size, physicality, and zone heavy schemes. That's where he shines the most. MJ Devonshire, like I said, we claimed him off of waivers. I think this past year. Was it this past year or was it? It could have been this year, right? I can't remember when we claimed him. I think it was last year. Either way, he does bring some ball skills that we seems that the coaching staff really likes. Special teams value for sure there. Shaw Smith Wade didn't pop as a rookie, but still has a chance to win that job outright there. Has had a lot of flashes. JC Horn has given him a lot of praise. Um, Said he's the hardest worker out there and has shown a lot of potential. um, I expect competition from late camp add-ons or veteran free agents. They might bring some people in. Don't be surprised, right? Don't be surprised by that. But I think this is a group, like I said, that really, again, can can be reliable enough. I've always been a big believer, ladies and gentlemen, that an elite pass rush can make an average secondary look good. And when Horn is elite when he's upright, but the Panthers finally have contingency plans. With this, right? Um, the X factor here is going to be Horn, right? It's going to be on JC Horn to stay healthy. That is the X factor in this secondary, in my opinion, and in this corner room. Dan is taking us to the edge of our seats, waiting to see if they bring in help in the secondary, as I'm not very confident with what we have. Well, we're going to dive more into that. We'll dive more into that corner room as we go forward. I just think that this corner room, again, I think that here's the way I look at it. Last year's secondary, okay, was is a secondary that broke under pressure. I think this year's might bend, but it's not going to shatter, if that makes sense. Right? If that makes sense. Again, I still think that they are going to cut guys in multiple positions. We see it all training camp where they cut guys, bring different guys in. I think we're going to see that same way here in training camp. But again, don't sleep on MJ Devonshire. Don't actually Shamar Bartholomew has also been making a lot of noise. A lot of and so is Shaw Smith Wade. Those have been the three corners that have been really making a lot of noise, besides, of course, your two starters and Mike Jackson and JC Horn. So we'll see. Marcos Cash, just if we ever meet and we go to the bar and I get in a bar and we get in a bar fight, I'll feel safe with you, okay? I think the D line should help the secondary. Agreed, Clay. Yeah, yeah. I've always said that. I've always thought that an elite edge rushing room makes an average secondary look good. So we've got 51 total people watching. That's between YouTube and, of course, X. If you're on X, make sure you come over to the YouTube channel. The link is in my bio. Make sure you come over here. Make sure you like and subscribe. That's the best way you can show your support here. Also, drop a follow on X. If you're on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure you click that post notifications bell. I am also doing a giveaway. I did do a live goal tonight, guys. So if we reach 20 teal super chats, I will do a NCAA football giveaway. I know I got to do a hat giveaway. I want to do an NCAA football giveaway. I also want to do a jersey giveaway. And I would also like to give back to you guys as well as doing a Madden giveaway. So if you guys come here, like, subscribe, become a member, right? Join in the super chats, or if you feel generous, donate to the channel, whether it's Venmo through Cash App. That also goes a long way as well. All right. Not begging you for money, just asking for support. That's all I ask. So whether that's liking, subscribing, or doing other things, it goes a long way. Or sharing the live also always goes a long way as well. So, but I appreciate all the love and support as we're going to be here all season long, baby. All season long, but we're all going to be here all training camp long. So, as well, I'll still be here trying to give you my guys my thoughts on stuff as we go forward. All right, let's move on. Let's get into that safety room, man. Is another safety a must? Is another safety a must? I mean, I'll say here's the thing. I look at the safeties. All right. Tre'von Moehrig was, again, I think is going to be the most smart, best pickup we ever had. Right. I think he's going to be an absolute, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Remember what Jeremy Chin was? Well, think about Jeremy Chin times 10. That's what Tre'von Moehrig is going to be, because he's a rangy, versatile defender who underperformed in Vegas but fits perfectly in this system, right? You alongside of him, you got Nick Scott, who adds leadership, tackling consistency, but behind them, I mean, there's a slew of athletic, hungry guys. I mean, you got a rookie in Lathan Ransom, Isaiah Gifford, Jack Henderson. Don't forget about Damani Richardson, who's shown a lot of shown flashes as well. Right. But then you also got Tre'von Thomas, a veteran depth. These aren't just camp bodies. I think this is an open competition. Again, Mower brings that range and ball skills, right? Um, I, is there another? Is another safety a must? I think so. There sounds like there's still some interest in Tre'von or in Justin Simmons. There was a NFL rumor out there that Carolina is still one of the teams interested in Justin Simmons. I think it'd be a smart move to bring in. Um, that's just my opinion. But again, I just think that this secondary won't be, even with this group, will, compared to last year, they'll bend, but I don't think they're going to absolutely shatter. Okay. I don't think they're going to absolutely shatter. Absolutely. Another safety is a must. Um, Shout out to Kendall with the 199 donation. Appreciate you.
Another one.
I think Dan will sign someone right before camp starts. At least I hope so. Yeah. We'll see, man. I mean, I wouldn't. I would like for them to open up that Julian Blackman door again, but we will see. We will see if they do that. We will see if they do that. I'm not too sure if they'll do that, but I would like them to. I would like them to. But yeah, man, that's your training camp preview, ladies and gentlemen. But before I go or anything like that, I do want to finish. I want to finish up with what I was going to say to finish this off. There is a bigger picture. All right, this team went from a patchwork to plan. Like let's call it like it is. Like the 2023 Panthers was a duct tape mess, right? 2023 was clueless. That was the team identity. 2024, they found their offensive identity. They were more competitive, but barely, right? Now in 2025, this defense is catching up. I think for the first time in years, both sides of the ball seem aligned with the team finally has a spine in the trenches, right? So I feel like 2025, this team identity, if I had to give you a few words or a sentence, I think it's going to be more physical. I think there's going to be more structure. And there's going to be no longer that we're going to be no longer a weekly punchline, right? Like I think that I've already given you out an early projection. I think this team goes 8-9, right? Um, it's either 8-9 or 9-8, right? And I think that if we want to be where we want to be, it needs to be 8, 9, or 9-8, right? At least, um, to show that progress is moving forward. Um, I think the biggest unit to watch and then the biggest unit I'm going to be watching in this training camp coming up or hearing about or whatever. Is this defensive front seven. To be truly honest with you, it's going to be this defensive front seven. Like, again, this isn't a sexy rebuild, ladies and gentlemen. It's a trench. This has been a trench first cultural reset, just a complete overhaul in some type of ways, right? I don't think that the Panthers, I think, won't contend in 2025, but I think that there'll be a more physical, a lot smarter, and finally makes this team, and they'll finally make teams actually earn it against us. They're not they're no longer out here flailing around, like they're building. And again, if Bryce Young keeps ascending, then the NFC South will and I think a lot more teams around the NFL will start paying attention more, right? I'm ready for training camp already. And I think a lot of people shouldn't sleep on the Carolina Panthers. Really, I think this is one of those teams that could end up sneaking up on you, and they might sneak up on us and surprise us, right? Um, but I think this is one of those teams that's going to be coming through the front door. And this is not a team that's just sneaking up anymore. They're going to just bust down the door, and that's what I'm hoping going into 2025, right? What kind of money can we afford on a safety? Probably something around 16 mil per year. I'm pretty sure. That's where we need to be. We need to be around 16 million per year. So, well, guys, I've been on here for over an hour and a half. Again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on X, make sure you come on over to the YouTube channel. That's the best way you can show your support. If you're on X, make sure you click the link in my bio and come on over. I would greatly appreciate it. It's really this simple, ladies and gentlemen. So, also, become a member today, right here, top of the chat. That is the membership link. All my links are right here to my social media, whether that's X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok as well. We are growing tremendously on TikTok. We almost have reached to 3,000 subscribers on TikTok. So if you are a subscriber here on YouTube, make sure you go over to the TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you go like and follow there as well. It uh, helps me out tremendously. And also, if you're always feeling generous and you want to donate to the channel, that's the best way you can do it. Okay. Not asking for your money. You don't have to give if you can't. It's all good. Or if you don't want to. It's all good. All I ask is you like and subscribe, continue to come through and show your support. Other than that, guys, I will see you on the other side. Make sure you continue to tune in. We'll have more shorts coming out to you, whether it's NFL, college football, or the Carolina Panthers content. It will continue to come out. So make sure you guys tune in to the shorts because I have been blowing you guys up with at least 3 a day. So appreciate you guys. Again, I'll see you on the other side. Love y'all. Be safe. And then y'all know what to do. Keep pounding. I'm out of here. Peace.